Okay, so we're going to start with this problem where I give you the graph. Okay, I'm going to give you a graph and we need to write it in vertex form. Your vertex form, if you don't already have it memorized, is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay? I highly recommend memorizing this because this is going to be on your non-calculator, non-graphing calculator portion of your test. That 3.3 formula chart is going to be on the graphing calculator portion. So you're going to turn that in when you turn in that test. So you're not going to have this formula on anything. So make sure you get that down. Okay? This whole section that I do is going to be non-graphing calculator. And then the very last example we do in the notes will be the graphing calculator. Okay? So that's why you got both of them today. But this vertex form, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, remember that your vertex is your hk, and the point that it passes through is xy. So I understand that every ordered pair is technically xy, but every time we do a vertex, we say it's hk because of what vertex form has. Okay? So if I'm providing you a graph, I'm giving you this vertex. So my vertex is 1, 5. Now I've got 2 points labeled. It doesn't matter which point you choose for your xy. Okay? I'm going to choose the positive one because I don't want to have to deal with negatives if I don't have to. So I'm going to choose 4, 0 as the point that the graph crosses through. Okay? So my vertex I label hk and the point I label xy. Always. Okay, vertex is always hk. The point will be xy. So if I compare that to my vertex form, I know my h, I know my k, I know my x, I know my y. I need to solve for a. And get a new pen. Come on. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be plugging in my values and solving for a. Once I get my a value, then I'm going to take the a value I solve for, the h and the k from my vertex, and I plug that in to get my final equation. You're going to leave x and y as is. Okay? So, if I work on this problem, the y value that I have labeled is 0 equals a, parentheses, the x value is 4 minus my h of 1. Now the most common mistake is not putting the squared. Make sure you put that squared. Okay? And then my plus k is going to be plus 5. Okay? So then I'm going to simplify what's inside parentheses. So I've got 0 is equal to a, 4 minus 1 is 3, squared plus 5. Okay? Well, 3 squared is what? 9. So a times 9, we write that as 9a. Okay, so whenever you square that, it's going to be the coefficient of a, so it's written in front. Now I need to solve for a. If I want a by itself, what am I going to get rid of? My minus 5. So negative 5 is equal to 9a, and then I get rid of my 9 by doing what? Dividing by 9. So a is equal to negative 5/9. Did y'all follow me? Okay. Do we have questions on how we got that? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this a value, and we're going to take our vertex, and we're going to write our final equation. Okay, so it's going to be y equals my a value of negative 5/9, parentheses, x minus, y'all can't see that, sorry, x minus my h, which is 1, squared plus my k, which is 5. Y'all good with that? Okay. So that's when I give you a graph. But all the other problems, I'm specifically telling you this is the vertex and this is the point it passes through. Okay, so your key thing is labeling correctly and plugging in correctly. Okay, so my vertex is HK, my point is XY. Alright, so if I've got y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to keep doing it on the examples so that you have more practice writing it and hopefully you memorize it. Okay, so I'm going to plug in negative 1 for y. I'm going to plug in 2 for x, minus 3 for my h squared. Now my plus k, my k is a negative, so I'm just going to put minus 5. Okay, so then I've got negative 1 is equal to a. 2 minus 3 is negative 1 squared minus 5. So negative 1 squared is 1, so 1a. I don't really have to write the 1, it's just a. Minus 5. So then what do I do? Add your 5 and a is equal to 4. So then I do my final equation, y is equal to 4 times x minus 3 squared minus 5. We good? Okay. So the next example, my vertex, negative 6, negative 12 is my HK. And then 0, negative 24 is my XY. So I'm going to plug in negative 24 is equal to a times 0 minus negative 6 is going to turn into what? Plus 6 squared minus 12. So I've got 0 plus 6, which is 6. And then 6 squared is 36. So once I get to that point, what do I do to solve for a?
Plus 12.
So negative 24 plus 12 is
Negative 12.
negative 12. And that equals 36a. So then I'm going to divide by 36. So negative 12 divided by 36 is negative
1/3.
So my final equation is y equals negative 1/3 times x. Remember you did minus a negative, so it's x plus 6 squared minus 12. You're good with that? Okay, I want you to try the next one and then we're going to check it. Bless you. So what do I start with? What do I write first?
The first.
Y equals a parentheses x minus 3h squared minus 5.
Yes. Okay, then when I plug in my numbers,
-7 equals a parentheses 4 minus 1 parentheses squared minus 6.
okay. So then 4 minus 1,
Is 3. And 3 squared is 9. So 9. Plus 6 would be -1. Divided by 9 is -1/9. So the answer is y equals -1/9 parentheses x minus 1 squared minus 6.
very good. Did y'all get that right? Okay. So, this next section is where I give you 3 points from the parabola, not necessarily a vertex. I'm not going to specifically say what it is because it might not be. But it's just 3 points on a parabola, and we're going to have to build the equation from these 3 points. So the way that we're going to do that, you're going to use your standard form. So remember, our standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. But we're going to have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to y on the right because we're going to have to build a system of 3 equations. So if you remember our chapter where we had systems of equations and we had to do a system of 3, it's back, okay? But so far it's seemed like it's easier this go around. I don't know. So what we're going to do is every ordered pair we got 3 ordered pairs, so it's going to be my 3 equations, okay? So the first one should have a negative, -1, -3. And then I've got 0, -4, and I've got 2, 6. Okay? So each time what I'm doing is I'm going to take that -1 for my first ordered pair and I'm going to plug that in everywhere there's an x. And I'm going to take my -3 and I'm going to plug that in for my y. So my unknowns for each equation is going to be my a, my b, and my c. So that's what I'm solving for. Okay? So I'm going to take a, and then x is going to become -1 squared plus b times -1 plus c equals my y, which is -3. Okay? So all I did was plug it in. Now I'm going to clean it up a little bit. -1 squared is just 1, so I've got an a. B times -1 is -b. Plus c equals -3. There's my first equation. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing for 0, -4. My 0 is my x, my -4 is my y. So I'm going to have a, I'm doing 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c equals -4. What happens when I have my 0?
It becomes
Goes
0.
away.
So I've got c equals -4, and that's all that I'm left with for my second equation. So this particular example makes it a little bit easier on you. Okay? Because now I know one of my 2 unknowns. I mean one of my 3 unknowns. I've got 2 left. Alright, so then my 2 and my 6, I'm going to do the same thing. A times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c equals 6. So 2 squared is going to be 4, 4a plus 2b plus c equals 6. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that. That's my new system. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite those equations as a system. So my first equation, I'm going to copy down. My second equation. And then my third equation. Okay. Remember that your goal is to eliminate, right? So in order to eliminate, you need the same number, same coefficient, but opposite signs, okay? If I'm looking at what I'm given c is equal to -4. I do not want to eliminate c because I want to use c to my advantage, right? So it would not make sense to take 1 and 3 and eliminate my c, okay? I want to eliminate either my a or my b so that I can use c to plug in and it make it easier on me, okay? Between a and b, which do y'all want to get rid of? I personally would choose b because they're already opposite signs. It doesn't matter. Remember that I can do something and you can do something and we can still get the same answer because as long as you're doing your work right, you should get the same answer. Okay? So if I choose to eliminate b because they're already opposite signs, I need to multiply my first equation by what? 2. I need that to become a -2. So my first equation is going to become 2a minus 2b plus 2c equals -6. So back when we did this unit, the most common mistakes were negatives and not distributing that 2 all the way across. So make sure that you're paying attention to every little detail. Okay, so then I take 4a plus 2b plus c equals 6, and I combine my two equations. So 2 plus 4 is 6a. My b's cancel. And 2c and c is going to give me 3c equals 0. Okay? Typically, that gives me my fourth equation, right? Usually, I would go back, choose a different set, and eliminate the same variable, but I don't need to because I'm going to take this c and I'm going to plug it in. So I've got 6a plus 3 times -4 equals 0. So that leaves me with 6a. 3 and -4 gives me a -12 equals 0. I'm going to add my 12. 6a equals 12. Divide by 6, and a is equal to 2. So I've got an A and I've got a C. So I'm going to do what with A and C?
Plug it into the original equation.
Plug it into one of the originals. So I don't care which one you do. I'm going to choose number 1. Alright, so I've got 2 minus B. My C is a -4 equals -3. I need to combine my like terms. 2 minus 4. So I've got -b minus 2 equals -3. I'm going to add my 2. -b is equal to, and then divide by -1 to get rid of that negative. So b is equal to 1. Okay, so now I've got my 3 variables. When we did this previously, we were getting x, y, and z, and that was an ordered triple. We're not doing that because what does this a, b, and c represent? My coefficients in my function. Okay, my a, b, and c are those numbers for my x squared x and my constant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back into standard form. So if standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, I'm going to plug those values in. And so my equation is going to be y equals 2x squared plus x minus 4. Okay? Now, before we move on, we're going to check it because on your test, this is going to be 10 points. Okay? 10 points is too much for you not to check. Okay? So what we're going to do, this is going to be on the non-calculator portion. So you're going to take the x value of your first point and you're going to store it. So I'm going to store it for x. And I'm going to type my equation I just had, 2x squared plus x minus 4. The number it gives me should be the y value of that point. If it is, I move on to my second point. I'm going to check all 3 points. If all 3 of them are correct, then I know I got it right. Okay? But knowing that it's 10 points, I really want you checking everything. Okay? So then I'm going to take 0, store for x, go back. Y'all can't see that. Go back and grab it. It's negative 4, which is what I need. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to my 2, store for x. And that's going to give me 6, so I know I got it right. Okay, it does not take you long to check it, so make sure you check it. Okay, do we have questions on how we did that problem? Okay. Okay, so we're going to do another example. I've got negative 1, 0, 1, negative 2, and 2, negative 15. So my negative 1, 0, I'm going to start with. So remember, if you need to, it's ax squared plus bx plus c equals y. So I've got a times negative 1 squared plus b times negative 1 plus c equals 0. And when I clean that up, negative 1 squared is just 1, so I've got a, b times negative 1 is negative b, plus c equals 0. Okay, then I'm going to do my second point, 1, negative 2. A times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c equals negative 2. So that's going to leave me with a plus b plus c equals negative 2. Then I'm going to have 2, negative 15. So a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c equals negative 15. So 2 squared is 4, so 4a plus 2b plus c equals negative 15. Y'all good building those equations? Okay. So I'm going to put them all together. A minus b plus c equals 0. A plus b plus c equals negative 2. 4a plus 2b plus c equals negative 15. Okay, so now I'm back to a normal system where I have all 3 variables with all 3 equations. Okay? There are some people who choose C every single problem, no matter what, because it's always plus C plus C plus C, and all they have to do is multiply one of those by a negative 1. And there's no guessing. It's that every single time. So if you want to do that, you can. Or you can look at your variables. If you already have opposite signs, like b, you could do that. Okay? That's what I would choose. Okay? But it doesn't matter if you struggle with a system of 3 and you want to do no matter what, you know you're going to eliminate c because that's easier for you, then do that if you can't manipulate numbers. Okay? But I'm going to choose, for this example, I'm going to choose my b. Because 1 and 2 is already set up for me, I can just cancel those out. Okay, so that's what I'm going to start with. So when I combine those, what does it give me?
2a plus 2c equals -2.
Very good. So that gives me equation 4. Then I need to go back, choose a different combination, but eliminate the same variable.
1 and 3.
I would choose 1 and 3 because 1 is already negative. Okay, so it already takes care of my opposite signs. So if I do 1 and 3, what do I need to multiply equation 1 by? 2. So equation 1 becomes 2a minus 2b plus 2c equals 0. And I copy down equation 3. When I combine it, that becomes 6a plus equals, very good. And that's my equation 5. Then what do I do?
You gotta get rid of something from 4 and 5.
Do y'all remember putting that together? You now have to build your new system with 4 and 5. So 2a plus 2c equals -2. 6a plus 3c equals -15. What are you going to get rid of?
That's
It's easier to get rid of a. Could you choose c? Absolutely. But you're going to manipulate both equations. Instead of, if you chose a, all you have to multiply the first equation by is -3. Remember, you have to do the negative because you need that to be a -6 to cancel out the +6. So that's going to become -6a minus 6c equals +6. And then I'm going to copy down 6a plus 3c equals -15. So -3c is equal to -9. Divide by -3, and c is equal to +3. Now, if I were to take that and plug it into one of the originals, would I be able to solve anything? No. So I have to work backwards. I came all the way to this point, so now I'm going to work backwards. Okay, I'm going to plug it into either 4 or 5. I'm going to plug it into 4. I've got 2a plus 2 times 3 equals -2. So 2a plus 6 equals -2. Subtract your 6. 2a equals -8. So then, I've got 2 of my 3 variables. I can plug that into one of my originals. Okay? Doesn't matter which one. I personally am going to choose 2 because they're all positive. So I'm going to have my a, which is -4, plus b, plus my c, which is 3, equals -2. -4 plus 3. So you can either do -1 plus b or b minus 1. It's the same thing. Okay, I'm going to add my 1, and b equals
-1.
-1. Now remember, you are not writing it as an ordered triple. Okay, I'm going to write it as an equation. Y equals negative 4x squared minus 1x plus 3. And if you were doing it independently, you would check it. Okay?